What do you do when a company rich enough to buy a county forgets to buy the ground under its own feet? That was the mistake Verdant Dominion made. They had lawyers, they had lobbyists, they had survey drones flying over every fence line in Wren County, Nebraska. But they missed one blue pencil line on an 1889 water map, and by the time Mara Merritt found it, Verdant had already poured concrete, drilled wells, borrowed $180 million, and trapped itself on land it did not fully own. The Merritt farm sat low in the Platte River flats, where the mornings came up silver with fog and the soil held water like a secret. 320 acres. Corn, alfalfa, soybeans, and a narrow strip of pasture where cottonwoods leaned over an old irrigation ditch. To outsiders, it looked small. To Silas Merritt, it was a lifetime. He was 79, narrow-shouldered, stubborn, and built from the kind of endurance that made people underestimate him. He could hear a bearing failing in a combine before the mechanic could find it. He could tell which field needed lime by the smell of the mud on his boots. He had buried his wife behind the white farmhouse, beside 2 generations of Merritts who had stayed when prices collapsed, when hail broke the wheat, and when banks called in loans they had no mercy collecting. Silas did not talk about legacy much, he just kept planting. But in the spring of 2024, the world around his farm changed faster than weather. Verdant Dominion Foods arrived with a clean logo, a private security contractor, and a promise to turn Wren County into the center of the new industrial grain corridor. Their plan sounded simple in the public meetings: buy every farm in the valley, consolidate the land, build a processing and water extraction facility, and sell the town on jobs. Their regional land director was Dane Whitcomb. Dane was the kind of man who wore polished shoes on gravel and smiled as if smiling were part of the contract. He had a Minneapolis office, a county board in his pocket, and a map on his tablet where family farms appeared as colored rectangles instead of homes. By June, Verdant had bought nearly 8,000 acres around the Merritt place. Nearly. Silas's farm sat in the bend of the valley where 3 irrigation laterals met. Worse for Verdant, the old Merritt ditch connected to the deepest seepwater channel in that part of the county. If Verdant wanted its new facility to run at full capacity, it needed that water access. If it could not get it, the plant became a very expensive shell, so Dane came first with manners. A black electric SUV rolled up the Merritt driveway on a hot afternoon, past the machine shed, past the fuel tank, past the porch where Silas was oiling a gate hinge. Dane stepped out with a tablet under one arm. "Mr. Merritt," he said, "you have a beautiful piece of ground." Silas did not stand. "Then you can admire it from the road." Dane smiled wider. He offered $2,900 an acre. That was the first insult. The second was the way he said it. As if Silas should be grateful. The land, with its water access and Class II loam, was worth more than triple that. Every farmer in the valley knew it. Dane knew it too. "At your age," Dane said, "holding out can become expensive. Your neighbors have made practical decisions. You don't want to be the one man blocking progress." Silas wiped oil from his fingers with a red shop rag. "My son was born upstairs in that house," he said. "My wife died in that house. My father built the south barn with lumber he hauled himself. You can call that sentiment if you want, I call it ownership." Dane's smile cooled. "Ownership has limits." Silas looked at him then, "So does trespassing." The offer left with the SUV, the pressure stayed. First came the spray drift. Verdant's contractors ran herbicide rigs along the north fence on a windy day they should never have sprayed. By morning, 12 acres of Silas's early soybeans had yellowed and curled. When Silas filed a complaint, the County Agricultural Compliance Office called it an unfortunate weather event. Then came the road closure. The gravel access on the east side of the Merritt property was suddenly scheduled for culvert replacement. The work was tied to a county improvement grant that Verdant had conveniently funded. Concrete barriers appeared where Silas's planter needed to turn. To reach his own back field, he had to drive machinery 7 miles around, burning diesel he could not spare. Then came the notices. A drainage citation. A ditch maintenance citation. A letter claiming his old fuel tank lacked a new inspection sticker. A warning that his irrigation pond violated updated runoff guidance. Every envelope looked official, every deadline was short. Every fine grew by the day. Silas kept working. He rose before dawn, took his pills with coffee, and drove the tractor with one hand pressed against his chest when the pain started. He told nobody. Farmers are dangerous that way. They can mistake suffering for discipline until their bodies finally disagree. In late July, Silas was clearing silt from the irrigation gate behind the alfalfa field when his knees buckled. A neighbor found him face down beside the ditch. The hospital called Mara Merritt just after midnight. Mara lived in Omaha and worked as a forensic accountant for a firm that specialized in corporate fraud. She knew how shell companies hid liabilities, she knew how lenders buried risk. She knew how people with money wrote violence in polite language. She had left the farm at 18 because she believed getting out was the only way to survive it. But when she saw her grandfather in a hospital bed, pale under fluorescent light, with adhesive pads still on his chest, something in her returned home before she did. On the chair beside his bed sat a courier envelope from Verdant Dominion. Mara opened it. The new offer was lower. $1,600 an acre. Attached to it was a notice threatening litigation over alleged water contamination from Merritt irrigation practices. Silas watched her read. "They know I can't fight them," he whispered. "That's the whole idea." Mara folded the letter once, then twice, then she slipped it back into the envelope like she was putting a blade into a sheath. "They don't know what you can fight," she said. "They only know what you can afford." By sunrise, Mara had moved into the farmhouse. She put her laptop on the kitchen table where her grandmother used to roll biscuit dough. She stacked bank statements beside seed invoices. She taped county notices to the wall. She pulled every deed, mortgage, survey, lease, tax bill, water permit, and family ledger from the cedar chest under the stairs. The farm had always looked simple to her as a child: dirt, weather, machinery, work. Now she saw the other farm. The one on paper. And on paper, Verdant Dominion was not farming. It was laying siege. Mara found the pattern quickly. Verdant had purchased the 2 closest grain elevators through separate holding companies, then refused independent storage contracts due to capacity concerns. It had influenced the new drainage ordinance through a consulting firm run by the mayor's nephew. It had funded road work that blocked only the Merritt approach. It had lined up a condemnation vote for what the county called a public water utility corridor. But the corridor did not serve the public. It ran straight from the old Merritt ditch zone to Verdant's half-built extraction facility. Mara took the files to Jonas Bell, a semi-retired lawyer whose office sat above a closed hardware store on Main Street. Jonas had known Silas for 40 years. His tie was crooked, his windows rattled when trucks passed, his filing cabinets looked older than the courthouse. He read for 2 hours without speaking. Then he took off his glasses. "Mara," he said, "you have proof they're choking him." "Good," she said, "then stop them." Jonas looked at her with tired kindness. "Proof is not the same as power." Verdant had 12 lawyers assigned to the Wren County project. They had outside counsel in Denver. They had the county board hungry for the new plant. They had former regulators writing their compliance letters. Jonas could sue. Maybe he could even win. In 4 years. Maybe 5. Silas did not have 5 years. The farm did not have 5 months. Mara went quiet. That evening, she walked into the Wagon Wheel Diner, the same place where Silas used to buy her cherry pie after livestock auctions. The room changed when she entered. Conversations dropped, forks slowed, men who had eaten at her grandfather's table stared into their coffee. Some had sold to Verdant and bought new pickups, some wanted jobs at the plant, some were ashamed. Some were not. Mayor Glenn Harrow sat in the corner booth with Dane Whitcomb. He saw Mara, then he looked away. That was when she understood the part no balance sheet could show. Verdant had not just bought land, it had bought the town's permission to stop caring. The final visit came 2 nights later. Dane's SUV rolled up after sunset, when the cicadas were loud and the fields looked black beyond the porch light. Mara was sitting on the steps with a mug of coffee gone cold. Dane climbed out with 2 attorneys behind him. "No need for drama," he said. "I'm here to resolve this." "You mean, finish it." He held up a document. "Tomorrow the county board votes on the utility corridor. Once that passes, we begin construction through the east field. Your grandfather will receive statutory compensation. It will be much less than my earlier offer." Mara said nothing. Dane mistook that for fear. "You are an accountant," he said. "So, read the numbers. Your grandfather has medical bills. He has fines, he has no elevator contract. His equipment is undermaintained. His crop is locked out of market. You can save him from losing everything, or you can watch pride turn into foreclosure." Mara's hand tightened around the mug. "You built this project on pressure," she said. Dane stepped closer. "We built it on inevitability." And there it was. The word men like Dane used when they wanted theft to sound like weather. Mara stood. "Get off the porch." His smile thinned. "You have until 10 tomorrow morning." When the SUV disappeared down the lane, Mara stayed outside in the dark. She thought about Jonas's warning. She thought about the county vote. She thought about every modern rule Verdant had helped write and every modern office it had learned how to bend. They could not beat Verdant in the present. So Mara went looking in the past. The next morning, instead of going to the board meeting, she drove to the county courthouse. Not the renovated offices upstairs, with glass doors and fresh paint. She went below them, into the archive basement. The county clerk gave her a dust mask, a key ring, and the warning. "Some of those books haven't been opened since my mother worked here." "Perfect," Mara said. For 3 days, she lived among cracked deed books and rolled canvas maps. She traced Verdant's acquisitions backward, parcel by parcel, through family sales, bank foreclosures, estate transfers, and tax deeds. She stopped trusting modern abstracts and pulled original plats. On the 3rd night, with rain ticking against the basement windows, Mara unrolled an 1889 Water District map across a wooden table. It showed the valley before highways, before center pivots, before the co-op, before Verdant's drones turned it into a grid. There were hand-drawn farm lots, a mill road, a creek branch that no longer appeared on modern maps. And then Mara saw it, a blue pencil line, thin, faded, almost childish. It curved under the east side of Silas's farm, crossed the land Verdant had just bought, and ran directly beneath the marked location of the new extraction facility. Mara leaned closer. Beside the line, in cramped ink, were 4 words: Reserved Hydraulic Estate Boundary. Most people would have missed it. A surveyor might have dismissed it as obsolete. A corporate lawyer might have assumed it merged into surface title generations ago. A county planner might not even know what the words meant. But Mara did. Ownership was not always flat. Sometimes, land was stacked like pages. Surface, water, minerals, flowage, access, use. She pulled the corresponding deed book so fast a spine cracked in her hands. The entry dated back to 1891, when the Platte Bend Irrigation and Milling Company went bankrupt after a failed canal project. To recover its debts, the company sold the surface parcels to settlers. But it retained the hydraulic estate, the subsurface seep channels, spring flows, watercourse rights, gravel beds, and any industrial access to the old aquifer system. Years later, those rights have been auctioned for unpaid taxes. The buyer was not a railroad. Not a bank. Not the county. It was Thomas Merritt, Silas's grandfather. Price paid, $37.80. Reason, written in the margin, to protect ditch and well. Mara read the transfer chain 3 times. Thomas Merritt to Abram Merritt. Abram to Silas Merritt. No severance, no sale, no release. Her grandfather did not only own 320 acres on the surface, he owned the severed water estate under nearly 8,000 acres Verdant had assembled around him. And Verdant's new plant. Its concrete pylons, intake wells, and extraction lines had been drilled directly into that estate without a license. Not a zoning violation, trespass, not a permit issue. Resource conversion. Not a negotiation. A title defect buried under $180 million of borrowed money. Mara sat back in the archive chair as the rain hardened against the glass. For the first time in weeks, she smiled. The next morning she walked into Jonas Bell's office and dropped a folder on his desk. "Cancel whatever you had planned," she said. "We found their foundation." Jonas read the first page, then the second. Then he stood so abruptly his chair rolled backward and hit the wall. "Good Lord," he muttered. "A severed hydraulic estate, still enforceable, in this state," Jonas said. "If the chain is clean, yes, surface title does not erase severed water rights. And if they're drilling commercial wells into it, they're trespassing. They're trespassing under half the valley." Mara pulled out another stack. "That is only the legal problem. This is the financial one." She had spent the night pulling Verdant's public filings, county bond disclosures, and UCC financing statements. The Wren County plant was not funded with cash. It was financed through a construction credit facility arranged by North Star Bridge Capital, an investment group that cared about exactly one thing: risk. Their loan agreement required clear title to all land, water rights, and operational access needed for the facility. Verdant had certified that requirement. False certification meant default. Default meant the lender could freeze funding, accelerate repayment, and lock Verdant out of the accounts paying contractors, lawyers, and payroll. Jonas stared at her. "You don't want to fight the whole company?" Mara's voice went cold. "No. I want their lender to realize the company already lied." They moved carefully. For 36 hours, Mara and Jonas built the trap. They prepared a federal complaint for subterranean trespass, unlawful water extraction, title slander, and conversion of a severed hydraulic estate. They attached the 1889 map, the 1891 deed, the 1912 tax sale certificate, the transfer chain, photographs of Verdant's drilling rigs, and survey overlays showing the intake wells inside the boundary. But they did not file immediately. Not before the county vote. If they filed too early, Verdant would adjust the corridor, delay the plant, claim a mapping error, keep the damage small. Mara wanted them locked to the line. She wanted the vote to put the county seal on Verdant's exact mistake. Silas heard the plan from his recliner, wrapped in an old quilt, his hospital bracelet still cutting into his wrist. "You're letting them vote to take my field," he said. Mara knelt beside him. "I'm letting them say where the knife is." He looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. "Your grandmother used to say, the deepest roots don't argue with the storm." Mara smiled faintly. "They just wait." "No," Silas said. "They hold." The Wren County meeting room was packed the next evening. Farmers lined the walls. Verdant employees filled the front rows. Reporters from the regional business paper waited near the door because the new plant had become a development story. Mayor Harrow sat at the center table, flushed with importance. Dane Whitcomb sat in the first row beside 2 lawyers. Legs crossed, one hand resting on his phone. Mara entered alone. Every head turned. She carried one plain blue folder. The mayor cleared his throat. We are here to consider Resolution 517, authorizing acquisition of the Eastern Utility Corridor for the Platte Bend Agricultural Water Project. He looked toward the back. Ms. Merritt, you may speak before the vote. Mara stood. No statement. A murmur moved through the room. Dane turned slowly, suspicious now. Mayor Harrow blinked. No objection. No objection to the vote, Mara said. That was true. And that was what made Dane uneasy. The board rushed the motion, seconded it. Read the public benefit language. Mentioned jobs. Mentioned growth. Mentioned infrastructure. No one mentioned Silas. The vote was unanimous. Resolution 517 passed. The room released a breath. Dane stood, buttoned his suit jacket, and walked back to Mara with the easy confidence of a man arriving at the end of someone else's options. That was sensible, he said quietly. Painful, I'm sure, but sensible. Mara handed him the blue folder. That depends on what you think just happened. He opened it. At first he skimmed, then his eyes stopped. His mouth tightened. Mara spoke loud enough for the room to hear. 40 minutes ago, Jonas Bell filed a federal action against Verdant Dominion Foods for subterranean trespass and unlawful water extraction. The complaint includes a request for emergency injunction and restoration of the severed hydraulic estate. The mayor leaned toward his microphone. What hydraulic estate? Mara turned to him. The one your county map forgot. She explained it cleanly. In 1891, the Platte Bend Irrigation and Milling Company severed the water estate from the surface parcels in this valley. In 1912, Thomas Merritt purchased those rights at tax auction. The rights passed unbroken to Silas Merritt. Verdant bought surface land, it did not buy the water estate underneath it. It did not license the seep channels, it did not license the industrial wells. It did not license the pylons now driven through the protected flowage bed. The room went silent. Not quiet. Silent, the kind of silence that makes people aware of their own breathing. Dane flipped through the documents faster now. This is antique nonsense, he said, but his voice had changed. Mara heard it. So did everyone else. This facility is halfway built, Dane snapped. No judge is going to demolish a regional infrastructure project because of a pencil line. It's not the pencil line, Mara said, it's the deed behind it. His jaw worked. We'll bury you in litigation. No, Mara said, your lender will. Dane froze. Mara took one step closer. North Star Bridge Capital received the full title packet 22 minutes ago, including your signed certification that Verdant controlled all necessary land and water rights for the Wren County facility. You violated the clear title covenant of a $180 million construction credit facility. Dane's face drained. Mara lowered her voice. You don't have to convince me, you have to convince the people who can freeze your money before sunrise. As if the room itself had been waiting for permission, Dane's phone began to vibrate. He looked down. North Star Risk Office. Nobody moved. Dane answered. For 10 seconds, his face still pretended. Then it collapsed. He turned away, but the room could hear the voice on the other end. Not the words, just the force of them. Dane whispered, we can explain. Then he listened. He tried again. We can cure the defect. He listened longer. Then he closed his eyes. Mara watched him understand the thing he had never believed possible. Silas Merritt could not outspend Verdant Dominion. But Verdant could not outspend its own lie. Dane lowered the phone. He did not threaten her again. He did not speak to the mayor. He walked out past the farmers he had promised to save, carrying the folder like it weighed more than the plant itself. The collapse did not happen all at once, it happened the way a dam fails. First, North Star froze the remaining construction draws, then contractors stopped work when checks were delayed. Then the emergency injunction halted drilling. Then the regional paper printed the phrase catastrophic title defect. Then lenders who had never heard of Wren County began asking why Verdant had certified water control it did not possess. Within 5 days, Verdant's expansion bond price cratered. Within 2 weeks, its board removed the executive overseeing the project. Within 6 weeks, the Wren County plant was a locked gate, a silent crane, and rows of unused pipe bleaching under the late summer sun. The company did not vanish. Companies that large rarely vanish. But the Wren County project died, and because Verdant had pledged the acquired farmland as collateral for the expansion, the bankruptcy receiver had to sell it back out piece by piece. Not to another conglomerate. No lender wanted land with a water estate it could not control, so the parcels returned to local buyers at prices ordinary farmers could actually reach. A widow bought back her husband's 80 acres, 2 brothers reopened their hay ground. The county co-op, with Jonas's help, regained one of the grain elevators. Mayor Harrow resigned before the state ethics investigators finished their first round of interviews. And Silas Merritt? He came home. By October, he was strong enough to sit on the porch in his flannel jacket and argue with neighbors about moisture levels in the corn. Mara stayed through harvest. She drove grain cart badly at first, then less badly. She learned that her grandfather's old dog only obeyed people who carried sandwich crusts. She learned that the farm had never been the simple thing she ran from. It was machinery in mud, debt and weather, meals left on counters, receipts kept in coffee cans. Maps no one thought mattered until they did. One morning, after the last field came out, Silas took her to the edge of the old ditch. The water there moved quietly under yellow cottonwood leaves. He pointed with his cane. My father told me his father bought that old water deed because nobody else wanted it. Said it was probably worthless. Mara looked across the valley at the abandoned plant, its concrete walls catching pale light. It wasn't worthless. Silas nodded. No. It was just patient. Verdant Dominion had come to Wren County believing ownership was whatever appeared newest, loudest, and most expensive on paper. They brought drones to measure fields, they brought lawyers to bend rules, they brought money to make neighbors look away. But they never understood the one thing every old farmer in that valley already knew. The surface is only what strangers see. The real claim is deeper. And sometimes, the past does not stay buried. Sometimes, it waits under the field with a name on it,